Let's start lying down, any comfortable position for you. So I invite you here to notice the touch points of your body on the earth. Where are you connecting? And then perhaps noticing the sensation of your breath. Where does it originate from? Noticing the quality of your breath. Where does it feel smooth and where does it feel maybe not as smooth? Noticing the length of the inhales and of the exhales. Are you able to maybe lengthen your exhales? And with every exhale, release and soften your body down towards the earth. As you release tension in your body, notice if maybe those touch points start to get bigger. More of your body is touching the earth, or maybe you find a few more places that touch the ground. And then I invite you to just notice what thoughts are going on in your mind. No judgment, there's nothing good or bad. Just check in, be aware. So our meditation for today, or our focus for our class, is a quote by Thích. So which seeds will we cultivate? The birth of a human being is not a beginning, but a continuation. And when we're born, all the different kinds of seeds, seeds of goodness, of cruelty, of awakening, are already inside of us. Whether the goodness or cruelty in us is revealed depends on the seeds we cultivate, our actions, and our way of life. So have there been any thoughts that have been going on in your mind that maybe have been planted into your mind? Could be by someone else, could be by yourself, that maybe don't serve you anymore, that maybe have never served you. Maybe they are the weeds, things that kind of take over the mind that we don't really want there. And then taking a moment to notice, what sorts of things would you like to cultivate? What thoughts, what actions? What kinds of seeds would you like to plant if you haven't already? And then nourish them and allow them to grow. So you can almost think of it as like an intention, something you would be honored to align your life with, not necessarily a goal, or just a way of being. So I invite you to imagine that you are planting that seed in your garden. Maybe it's the garden of your mind or the garden of your heart. And as we go through class, we'll kind of check in and see how we can nourish that seed. So let's bring some small movements into fingers and toes. Rolling around wrists and ankles. Maybe you take a big stretch. All right, then let's hug both knees in towards your chest. Maybe rocking from side to side or making circles here in your knees. Okay, so let's place the feet on the earth about hip distance apart. Knees are bent. Arms come out to the sides, and then just windshield wipering the knees from side to side. And as you do this, notice what you feel in the thighs and in the hips. All right, and then whenever you're ready, allowing the knees to drop all the way over towards the right side. So we're keeping that wide stance here in the legs, in the feet. And then just softening the hips, softening the legs. And notice what you feel along the left side. Maybe it's anywhere from the knee all the way up to the rib cage. Let's find one more round of breath here. And then gently windshield wipering your knees from side to side a couple more times. And when you're ready, allowing your knees to drop to the left side. So just a reminder as we go through our practice to listen to your body. Only do what feels right for you today. And if we come into a pose that doesn't feel good, find a resting pose. Maybe it's seated or child's pose, Shavasana. And then join us again when you're ready. One more round of breath. And then gently windshield wipering the knees again from side to side. All right, let's walk the feet back towards each other. Feet are about hip distance apart. We're going to find a moving bridge. So let's start by placing the arms down by our sides. Pushing the feet into the earth, lifting the hips, squeezing the inner thighs, squeezing the glutes, and then exhale to lower. And just moving with your own breath. If you want to make this a little bit more I don't know, interesting. Bringing the arms up and back behind you, fingernails to the earth as the hips come up. And then as the hips come down, arms come back down by your sides. Okay, so let's do this one more time. And then lowering the hips to the earth, allow the back to soften. Okay, whenever you're ready, hugging the knees in towards the chest. And then either staying here, or if you don't have any neck issues, maybe you tuck the chin in towards your chest. So we're creating kind of like a little seed here. Maybe you feel a stretch along the back of the neck. Gently releasing. And then rolling over to one side, whichever side is calling for you. Making your way up to seated. So I just randomly drew some cards for our class today. So one card that I drew was wide-legged seated forward fold. So we'll bring the legs out wide, toes point up towards the sky, activating the feet. So a couple of things before we come into this here. We'll do a little bit of a warm-up before we come right into it. But if you feel like when you lean forward that you're starting to round in the spine, or you need to find a little bit more distance, or even if the backs of the thighs feel too tight, feel free to grab a blanket to place underneath the hips. So the hips come up just a little bit higher. It helps to kind of straighten your back and also elevate you forward a little bit. Okay. So as we go through, let's start with a little bit of movement here in the arms. Sorry. So we'll reach the arms over towards one foot, reach the arms forward and across over to the other foot, and then come back up and go all the way around. So we're making circles here with the arms, keeping the feet active. All right, and then let's go the opposite direction. I'm sure I probably told you both this already before, but sometimes in my kids' class, we're making a pot of soup, but we stir the pot of soup. And then we put weird things in our soup. All right, so let's come back to center. Okay, and we'll find our wide-legged forward fold. So sitting up nice and tall, legs stay out wide, activate the feet. Inhale to lengthen the spine, exhale, hinge from the hips, send the heart forward. So you may not go very far, especially so early in the practice. And remember that that's okay. All right, slowly walking your hands back up. We're going to come into butterfly pose or round angle pose. So soles of the feet come together, knees out to the side. Inhale to lengthen your spine, and exhale, hinge forward from the hips. Once again, send the heart forward. So what sorts of things do you think you need to nourish your seeds, nourish your intention? Is it maybe patience, compassion, love? What will help your seed grow? And gently allowing yourself to come back up to center. All right, and then we'll find Sukhasana, easy seated pose if that's comfortable for you. And a moving twist. So shoulders roll back and down the spine. Palms come out towards the sides. Inhale, arms reach up towards the sky. Exhale, turning to one side and allowing your heads to come down by your side. Inhaling back to center and exhaling over to the other side. And just moving here with your own breath. So let's go one more time in the other direction. And then when you come back to center, releasing the arms down by your sides. All right, let's make our way into a tabletop pose. So wrists underneath the shoulders. Yes, knees underneath the hips. I thought I said it backwards there for a second. We're going to make some circles here in the torso. So to begin, we'll come into a cow pose, rounding the spine, tucking the chin, tucking the tailbone. And then we're going to shift the rib cage over towards the right side, create kind of like a C shape here with your body. So hips to the left, looking over the left shoulder. Then coming into your cow pose, belly button drops down towards the earth, heart shines through. Try not to collapse in on the arms. C-shape the opposite direction, rib cage out to the left side, and then back into your cat pose. And just continue moving around here in a circle. Maybe you hang out in one spot, that feels good. Maybe you just find some fluid movements. And then see if you can go the opposite direction. This is where I always have trouble. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? All right, so let's come back to our tabletop pose. And then child's pose. So this variation, I invite you to tuck the toes together. Maybe knees are together or knees apart, sitting your hips back. If your forehead doesn't come all the way to the earth, maybe finding stacked fists or a block, or perhaps bringing the arms back behind you, palms face up towards the sky. Softening your shoulders down towards the earth. So kind of like our little C pose again. One more round of breath. And then gently making your way back into your tabletop pose. From tabletop, we'll come into downward dog, tucking the toes under, sending the hips back and up behind you. Shoulders roll back and down the spine. Perhaps you pedal out the feet or sway the hips from side to side. All right, let's shift our weight forward, come back into tabletop. Then tucking the elbows and gently lowering down to the earth. We'll find a baby cobra, shoulders roll back and down the spine, tucking the elbows in by the sides. Reach each leg away from your top so the feet come down to the earth. Gently lift the heart while looking down at the earth. So we want this movement to actually come from the back. So perhaps you lift your hands up off the earth to see if maybe you're putting a lot of weight into your hands. All right, exhale to lower. Making your way back into your tabletop pose. Curl the toes under downward dog. And then making your way towards the front of your mat into a forward fold. Feet are hip distance apart. So as much of a bend in your knees as you need, so there's no discomfort in the low back or the backs of the thighs. Maybe you shake out the head, release the neck. Maybe you sway from side to side. All right, let's bring our hands to either shins or thighs, halfway lift. So from our halfway lift, we want to use the core here. Draw the belly button in towards the spine. Find equal weight in the four corners of your feet. So you might shift forward. You want to flat back and crown of the head reaches forward. Can you even see if you're putting weight into your hands, or if you're using your core or not by taking your hands off your legs? All right, let's bring the hands to the hips. Keep the length in the spine coming up to mountain pose. All right, mountain pose at the top of the mat. Feet are hip distance apart. Squeeze the inner thighs to find a slight tuck of the tailbone. Crown of the head reaches high, shoulders roll back and down the spine. Inhale, arms reach up towards the sky, extended mountain. Exhale with a flat back, bend in the knees, swan diving down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, sit back into a chair pose. Slight tuck of the tailbone, heart shines through between the shoulders, soften the shoulders. Making sure the knees are not going past the toes. Find your balance. And then exhale, forward fold. Let's take a big step back here into warrior one with the right foot, sorry. So toes point up towards the top right corner of the mat. Wide stance like your feet are on railway tracks. Squeeze the inner thighs to rise. Squaring the hips towards the front of the mat. Knees over the ankle in line with the second or third toe. Soften the shoulders. All right. You can make some noise here if you would like. I'm sure nobody will hear you. You're alone, right? Okay, so we're gonna make some movement with the arms and then maybe make some noise. So as we reach the arms back, we're gonna reach the crown of the head forward and we're gonna send the arms behind us. Find a straight back as you do this. And then inhale, arms will reach back up. And as you exhale, maybe you go, okay, inhale, arms reach up. And exhale. So we're gonna do this a couple more times. And the reason why we bring sound into some movements sometimes, not that we do it often in this class, is to help move energy through. So as you move your arms back behind you, imagine that you are getting rid of maybe the weeds that you don't need. The things that no longer serve you. Maybe the things that someone planted in your mind that aren't true, something about yourself. We're gonna do one more. Okay, arms reach back up towards the sky. We're gonna bring the hands down towards the earth, step back into your plank pose. Is it knees down or knees up? Belly button draws in, push the earth away from you. So you're pushing into your hands, gripping the fingers into the earth. Then shifting your weight forward, knees to the earth if they aren't already, tuck the elbows in lower. Let's find a Sphinx pose, forearms to the earth, elbows underneath the shoulders, shoulders roll back and down the spine. So again, reach each leg away from you. Stretch the legs out, tops of the feet come down. Where does it feel best to place your feet in the Sphinx pose? Maybe it's hip distance, maybe toes together, heels apart. Maybe it's shoulder distance. Drawing the arms in towards the chest to allow the heart to come through between the shoulders, between the arms. So push yourself away from the earth, try not to collapse in on your arms. Again, some of that work is coming from the back. And exhale to lower. Making your way into a tabletop pose. And then into downward dog. From downward dog, coming into a forward fold at the top of your mat. All right, and we're going to come right into halfway lift, hands to shins or thighs, flat back. Try to use your core to hold you up. And then on your exhale, sit back into your chair pose once again. Slight tuck of the tailbone, soften the shoulders. Shift your weight back into your heels if you can. Exhale, forward fold. Left foot takes a big step back, coming into warrior one on the other side. Wide stance, squeezing your thighs to rise. So you want to check that front knee, that it's over the ankle in line with the second or third toe. Square the hips forward. All right, remember that movement? That sound? If you didn't make it and you still wish to, here's your opportunity. So as you lean forward, send the arms back behind you, make noise. Inhale, the arms come up. Exhale, send the arms back. Keep moving here. Release what no longer is needed. Release what has been standing in your way. Imagine you're pulling the weeds up and then throwing them back behind you. Let's do two more. I am not keeping count. Inhale, reach up towards the sky. Exhale, hands come down to the earth. Find your plank pose. Lowering the knees to the earth. Sorry, shifting your weight forward, lowering the knees to the earth, tuck the elbows and lower. We'll find Sphinx pose one more time. So again, shoulders roll back and down the spine. We want to push ourselves away from the earth, so push into the arms. One more round of breath. And then exhale to lower. As I'll come into tabletop. And one of the cards that I pulled was dolphin. So in our dolphin pose, we find the Sphinx arms, once again, elbows underneath the shoulders, shoulders roll back and down the spine. So same thing as Sphinx, we want to push away from the earth. Okay, so we're activating all the muscles along the upper back as we do this. Then curling your toes under, send your hips up. So depending on your body, you might look between the arms. If the head doesn't come all the way to the earth and it feels better in the neck, maybe you look back towards your toes. You even have an option here to slowly start walking the feet up a little bit closer toward your arms. Keep pushing away from the earth. Try not to collapse in on the shoulders. One more round of breath. All right, and here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep the Sphinx arms, dolphin arms, walk the feet back. Find your plank. Maybe it's knees up or knees down. Draw the belly button in. Let's drop the knees, drop the hips, send the heart through Sphinx pose. All right, exhale to lower. And then making your way into a tabletop pose. Find some movements here that maybe feels good for you and your body. And then let's return to our child's pose. So take any variation your body's asking for, back to your seed. Back to your intention. Back to whatever it is you would like to cultivate. What do you need to cultivate this seed? Gently making your way back into your tabletop. Back into downward dog. Coming into your forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Use the core to hold you up. Exhale back into your chair pose. Slight tuck of the tailbone. All right, so we plant our seed here into the earth. Exhale, swan diving down, forward fold. Let's take a big step back here with the right foot. So either warrior one or high lunge. Up on the toes. Softening the shoulders. What? Find your balance. Okay, and then we're gonna step forward and send that right knee forward. So coming into like a stork pose, or like we're preparing for tree, for example. So you're gonna send the arms back, shift your weight forward onto your left foot, send the right knee forward. All right, our next pose is dancer pose. So sending that right foot back behind you, activate the right foot. So grabbing hold of the top of the right foot, if you can, grab the inside of, grab the inner arch, sorry. Then point the knee down towards the earth. Micro bend in the left knee, slightly tuck that left hip under. Okay, maybe the left arm reaches up towards the sky. Perhaps you stay here, or maybe you kick the foot in, right foot into the right hand, and slowly start to lift and tip. Keep sending the right knee down towards the earth. Inhale to come back to center. Release the knee forward, bring the arms up high. Exhale, extended mountain. Inhale, let's find a slight tuck of the tailbone, open the heart up towards the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale back into your chair pose. Light tuck of the tailbone. Exhale, forward fold. Left foot steps back, warrior one or high lunge up on the toes. Wide stance here. Okay, so when you step forward, you're kind of using momentum here with the arms. Draw the navel in as you reach forward. So whenever you're ready, send the arms back, whoop, send the left knee forward. And then making your way into your dancer pose. Left foot is active. See if you can grab the inner arch of the left foot, send the knee down. This could be it. This might be all you need for today. Maybe the right arm reaches up towards the sky. Find a place to focus on that isn't moving. And perhaps you start to kick the left foot back and up. Maybe start to tip forward just slightly. One more round of breath. Whoop, whoop. Slowly release. Come into extended mountain. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. Okay, mountain pose. Inhale, extended mountain. Exhale, swan diving down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. No chair this time. Exhale to fold. We're going to step both feet back into a plank pose. Your variation of plank. Last one. Okay, then let's drop, shift the weight forward, drop the knees, tuck the elbows and lower. So last back bend, what do you need here? Is it baby cobra, sphinx pose, full cobra? In the full cobra, shoulders still roll back and down the spine, tuck the elbows, tops of the feet push down to the earth. And exhale to lower. Okay, so we're going to make our way into our tabletop pose. And then back into child's pose. Let's reconnect to the breath. Reconnect to the intention. And connect to what you need to feed that seed, to allow it to grow. I have these secret garden cards, and the first one I pulled here says, release, lighten your load. Releasing anything you don't need. Making space. And it's a wheelbarrow on the picture, so maybe you imagine your weeds in the wheelbarrow and sending them away. And one more card. It's a butterfly. It says beauty. Dare to be tender and strongly vulnerable. Okay, let's make our way back into our tabletop pose. And then we're going to come into a variation of thread the needle. So instead of doing it from tabletop, we're going to come back just a little bit towards that child's pose. We want to still create space here underneath to allow the move to come on, the arm to move under. And then we'll bring the right arm up towards the sky, scooping the right arm under, coming down onto the right arm, the back of the arm. Maybe you sink back a little bit further, soften and melt here. So it's not quite so much lying on the shoulder, it's more just kind of lying on the arm itself. Okay, so slowly shifting your weight so you can come up, shift a little bit of weight into that left hand and unravel the right hand. So again, we're kind of like halfway between table and child's pose. Left arm comes out to the side and scooping the left arm under. Sit back as far as you comfortably can in your child's pose. Gently making your way up a little bit, shifting your weight into that right hand. Left hand comes forward, back into child's pose. This time, let's walk the hands over towards the right side of the mat, keeping the hips down. Maybe that left hand comes on top of the right, melting the left side body down. Allowing the hands to move through center and over towards the left side. Maybe the right hand comes on top of the left, melting the right side body down. Gently walking the hands back to center. We're going to make our way back into our tabletop pose. Perhaps you find a few cat-cows, C-shaped, figure eights. And then we're going to come to seated for our twist today. So in our Marichi twist, you're going to find what feels the most comfortable for you. So you're only going to go as far as it feels good. So I'll give you options as always, right? So we'll start with hugging the left knee in, right leg comes long. Find your sits bones sitting up nice and tall. Okay, and then if it's in your body, crossing the left foot over towards the right side. See if you can get all four corners of the feet to the earth. So if you're able to keep your sits bones on the earth and the left foot on the earth, perhaps you tuck the right leg under. Sometimes it's in my body, sometimes it isn't. Okay, Every day is different, right? Sitting up nice and tall. So we'll bring the right hand to the left knee, left hand behind us. So we're moving in 4 steps. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale, turning from the waist. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, turning from the low ribs. Maybe the right arm hooks around the left leg. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, turning from the shoulders. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, turning the head. So maybe you stay here, or if you wish, and if it's in your body, right elbow comes to the outside of the left thigh to help you find a little bit more length in the spine and maybe turn a little bit more. Continue sitting tall. Inhale to lengthen your spine. And exhale to come back to center. We're gonna uncross the legs, maybe give them a bit of a shake. And then whenever you're ready, hugging the right knee in towards the chest, find your sits bones. Perhaps the right foot crosses over to the left. Maybe you tuck the left leg under. Right, so no pain, right? Left hand to right knee, right hand behind you. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, turning from the waist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, turning the low rib cage. Maybe you wrap the arm around the knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, turning from the shoulders. Inhale to lengthen. And exhale, turning the head. Again, option here. Maybe the elbow comes to the outside of the right thigh. Find length in the spine and turn. Your next inhale, lengthening your spine. And exhale, coming back to center. Let's uncross the legs, give them a shake. All right, and then let's bring the feet to the earth and slowly, slowly, slowly come all the way down. Take your time, use your core. And then find any final resting pose that feels right for you in your body. Maybe it's Shavasana, maybe it's something else. Softening your shoulders. Softening around the eyes, in the jaw. Letting go of any tension that you feel. Okay, so another card here. The picture is of a white flower, and the word is twilight. Surrender to the last hour when the light barely touches the flowers. And this one's perfect for our last card. It's a picture of a little wooden door like you would find in a fairy house or something. Retreat. Never underestimate the healing power of a quiet moment. So taking these last few minutes to find stillness. And to allow for things to happen in their own time. You have planted your seed. You have given it what it needs, or maybe you still need to, whatever it needs to grow. And now you wait. Remember to give yourself love, patience, kindness, and compassion. How you live your life, how you treat yourself will determine which seed will grow. Those seeds are in us, whether we put them there or not. The positive, the negative. But we can choose which ones we allow to grow. Whenever you're ready, finding some small movements in your body. Allowing those movements to maybe become bigger movements. Perhaps you find your seed pose once again on your back, hugging your knees in towards your chest. If it feels good, tuck the chin in towards the chest. And then rolling over to one side, whichever side is calling for you. And then gently making your way up to seated. And once you get there, lowering or closing your eyes. As you inhale, inhaling love, compassion, patience, and light. And as you exhale, release anything standing in your way. I honor this virtual space that we are in that has allowed us to come together. I honor all of the yoga teachers from India and from around the world who have brought us this beautiful practice. And I honor you for being here today, for sharing your practice with me and with each other. Thank you for joining me. Have a beautiful evening.